Hello, Pete Pennington here with Garnet Technologies, and today we're going to be talking about calibration charts and manually entering those calibration charts into the programmer. There are three different ways to put a calibration into our programmer. One of those ways would be to copy out of a display, so copy the calibration from a display to the programmer. The second way would be to take a calibration from the truck gauge software to the truck gauge programmer. And the third way, the way we're going to be talking about today, is manually entering in those calibrations. It's usually just as easy, may take a little time to manually enter all the values in, but it's just as easy and just as good. So that's why I wanted to start with manually entering in calibration charts. So the first thing that you will need is a calibration chart or a strapping chart from the tank manufacturer. A couple of key notes about the strapping chart. Most of the time you'll see those strapping charts in ½ or quarter of an inch or even whole inch increments, and a lot of times those strapping charts are in gallons. So there's going to if that's the case, if it's in quarter, half, or whole inch increments or in gallons and you need it in barrels, we need to do some converting. So we need to convert it from quarters of an inch to thirds of an inch, 1 inch to thirds of an inch. So if you go to garnetinstruments.com, you can click on the technical support tab, and at the top half of the page you will see a link there for calibration charts. Those are conversion charts that you can use to convert from quarter, half, whole inch increments to thirds of an inch. So it's really important that we have the chart in thirds of an inch. And then if you need the chart converted into barrels, you can do that as well. So, but the first thing you'll need to do is convert it down to thirds of an inch. I have a chart here that is a printed out version of what you would see on the conversion table on our website. So it's an Excel document, Microsoft Excel, and all the formulas are preset. So on the supplied calibration, this is what we mean by strapping chart. So from the tank manufacturer, this one just so happens to be a strapping chart that was in quarters of an inch, so 0, quarter, half, and 3/4. And what we've done is taken, we've got our inches column here, and then our quarter of an inch increments there. So we've started and we've manually entered in these values all the way across, and then all the way down till the chart, till you've entered all of the numbers on the chart. When you do that, it automatically, when you leave a cell, it'll automatically convert it over here in the Garnet calibrations. As you can see, the inch values here are broken down into thirds of an inch, starting at 0 going all the way to 85 inches. So 0.0, 0.33, 0.66, 1 inch, all the way down. And like I said earlier, most strapping charts will be in gallons, so I've entered in all of the gallon values here, and this one is set up to convert the gallons into barrels, and then it's also set up to show you the gallons as well. So I have it in both barrels and gallons. Today we are going to be working with the barrels column. So this chart is a chart that has already been converted, so I have it in thirds of an inch, and I also have the unit of measure that I want, which is barrels. So if you have any questions over converting a chart from quarters or half or whole inch to thirds of an inch, I would suggest giving us a call and having us walk you through that. We always offer to do the conversions for you. You can give us a call, and we can tell you about that process there. Since I have the chart in the thirds of an inch mode that I want, and I have the barrels that I need. So the next step would be to make sure our programmer's set up to retrieve this information. One thing to note that's very important is you want to make sure you are in a memory location that you don't use or don't need. So we want to make sure that we're not writing over a calibration chart that we need. So we want to make sure that's there. So what I've done is I've made sure I'm in memory location 1. It's pretty much a blank calibration. There are some values entered in there. So what I want to do is I want to make sure this is cleared out just to start fresh. So I'm going to hit the shift button and clear memory, and it's going to clear the memory out, and we'll be ready to move on. The second important thing in setting up the programmer to make sure you're ready is to make sure you're in thirds of an inch. This is very important. The display won't take it, and it won't read out properly if you've entered in quarter of an inch or half inch values, or if you're in a different mode. So you'll want to make sure that your inch mode is properly set and that you're in a clear memory location with the information cleared out. As you can see, the inch value, it's always there, it's always going to be there. You can inch up and down, but you want to make sure we start at 0, start at the bottom and work our way up. So when we look back at the calibration chart here, these are the inch values, which mirror the inch values that are right here. So inches on the chart, inches in the programmer. So we're just going to fill in the blank for the calibration. As we look on the calibration chart here, at 0.00 inches, we have 0.0 barrels. So I'm going to start manually entering this in. When we look at our programmer, the way I like to think of it is the programmer is always going to ask us a question, and that question is, what unit of measure, what calibration is linked to this inch value? So when we look at the chart, we know that 0.0 barrels is linked to 0.00 inches. This is what we call a raw calibration, meaning that there's no adjustments in offset yet. It's just from 0 all the way up. So that's what we mean by raw calibration. So what I'm going to do is, since the programmer is at 0.00 inches, the programmer is asking me what calibration is linked to 0.00 inches, which based off of our chart, it shows us 0.0. So I'm going to manually enter in that chart, that value, 0.0, and you can see it popped up there. As I typed it, it shows up. I have to hit enter to move on. You can see the inch value jumped up to 0.33 of an inch, so it's ready to receive the next calibration. So if we look back at our chart, again, the programmer is asking us what calibration is linked to 0.33 of an inch. So we need to look at our chart again. So at 0.33 of an inch, it again is 0.0 barrels. So I'm going to enter that value in, 0.0. Again, it showed up, and then I'm going to press enter. Now it's asking me for 0.66. So I'll go back to my chart. 0.66. The chart actually says 0.67. That is a rounding prevention that Excel uses. So 0.66 is 0.1 barrels. So I'm going to enter that value in, 0.1, and press enter. and now it's asking me for the 1-inch value. And you're going to do that all the way down your chart until all of the values have been entered. Once all of the values have been entered, you're done. You just manually entered in a chart, and now you're ready to move on to set the offset or store alarms, do things like that. The keys to manually entering in a process would be to make sure you're always pressing the enter button after you've manually entered it in. If for some reason you got off a little bit or something's not right, a number's not right, you can use the inches arrows to go back down to a specific calibration and retype that in, re-hit enter, and it fixes the problem. So in this case, let's give an example. Let's say for 0.66 inches, I meant to type in 0.2. Let's use that as an example. And I accidentally typed in 0.1. I could go back to that inch value and type in my correct number and hit enter, and then you can move on. And now it's entered in there. So you can use the inches arrows to see all of the numbers and values that you've entered to make sure they are correct. Manually entering in a chart can be time consuming. It can take you 15-20 minutes, but once you have it in there, it's in there, and then you can always go back and save it to the truck gauge software later. But if you have any questions over any of this on how to enter in a calibration to the programmer or how to convert a chart, give us a call or shoot me an email, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Hopefully this lesson is beneficial to you, and you can start entering in calibrations. So again, if you have any questions, give me a call, shoot me an email, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Guys, have a good day, and I look forward to talking with you, and keep a lookout for more videos. There's going to be more videos on how to set offsets, how to store alarms, copy displays, program displays, and things like that. So keep an eye out. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.